All right, looks like I'm live again. Maybe. Looks like it's working on my phone. I'm cheating. I'm using this so I can make sure that I'm not gonna get the lovely little spinny thing. Okay, it looks like it's working on my phone, so I'm gonna close the app on my phone. I just tweeted it out again. I'm gonna wait a minute and see if everybody comes back into the stream. I mean, the one lady was like fighting with a Christmas tree, and Frog was here, and we shall see. Okay, I retweeted it. I've waited a few minutes, hardly going by. I'm not sure if people got the notification that I went back live, even though I typed it in chat. But again, I don't know what was showing for you guys and what wasn't showing for you guys. So I guess I will just talk about some of the things that were on my mind, just in case anybody watches this later. Let me get something off my dad's desk. And of course, he's already spilled something on it. So I've had some people ask me like questions and stuff about my dad, or they thought it would be a good idea for me to like introduce my dad to my YouTube channel and that kind of stuff. And my dad doesn't do social media at all. And it's not because he doesn't want to learn it or that he can't learn it or things like that. My dad can't be on social media because when I was a child, I was sexually molested by my brother, who also lives here, my dad and my mom, and multiple church members from the Seventh-day Adventist Church out of Winter Garden. So various court proceedings and stuff happened. I was in DCF custody for quite a few years. I bounced around from relative to relative, that kind of thing. And so my dad was sentenced to 20 years of probation. When I turned 18, we petitioned the courts to get him off of regular, like probation where you have to check in every so often, that kind of thing, and have somebody come to the house. We got him switched off of that kind of probation to administrative probation. So then he didn't have to like go to the actual probation office anymore and check in, and they didn't have to come up to the house and do check-ins and stuff on him, because I was an adult. Well, his 20 years was up almost a decade ago. And then the state of Florida changed the law and said that if you've ever been charged with any type of sexual crime, period, you have to go and re-register, and you have to be seen by the state every so often. Now, I know people that have been sent to prison for sex crimes, which is like rape or molestation, and been convicted and went to prison for it. They only check in like once a year. Well, even though my dad was charged, but he was never convicted. He was never convicted of a felony. He was never convicted of a sex crime. Yes, he was charged with molestation on a child under the age of 12. So was my brother and several other people. The thing is because of the probation thing, like years ago, he wasn't allowed to be on like social media or be within, a room unaccompanied by another adult with a child under the age of 18, that kind of thing. Now that the laws in Florida have changed, and my dad has to go check in often, even though his probation's done. His sentence it has been completed. It's been long since completed. But even after he completed his sentence, when Florida changed the laws, my dad now is back on basically the shit list. He can't legally purchase any more firearms. They fingerprinted him and put him back in the fucking system, even though he was already taken out of the system. And he can't have like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, that kind of stuff, because he's not supposed to have access to social media and things like that. So that's one reason why my dad's a little hesitant to come on my YouTube channel, other than the little snippets that you see him here and there, is because, one, he doesn't want to break any laws because, of the crime and the accusations and all that kind of stuff. And my dad is very careful with what he does on the internet. He doesn't look at porn. He doesn't look at inappropriate things on YouTube, things like that. My dad is very careful because they track everything that goes on in this house. If it's connected to his internet, the state of Florida can access our records at any time. And so that's a little backstory as to why my dad has been a little hesitant to do like a Q&A. And I've had subscribers ask me to do a Q&A with my dad before. And it's not just because he doesn't want to do it. It's kind of like he's kind of nervous to do it because he doesn't want to get in trouble with the state of Florida. So I had a couple of people send me some questions that they wanted my dad to answer. And then I went and found some various like poll questions like getting to know your dad better, or things to ask your dad, or questions to ask your parents, that kind of thing. And I took some of the questions and I typed them into a Word file and I printed them up. And again, my dad has spilled something on it. This is the printed copy for him so he could look over the questions. But there's 60 questions on here besides the ones that, the subscribers had asked me. And the subscribers that did send me questions, they sent me not one, but they sent me like 8 or 9 questions at once. So, which is fine. And the funny thing is some of the questions that they asked me to like have him discuss in a live stream Q&A kind of thing are things I don't even know. And I know my dad pretty well. Like, that'll be a whole other live stream or video. My mom moved out of the state of Florida 2 years ago this past October and took my daughter with her illegally. And no, I haven't seen her. Yes, I do know where she lives. Google is your best friend. But no, she took off out of state with my youngest daughter, Brianna, and my aunt moved about a few months before that with my oldest daughter, Gabriella, and I haven't seen either of my daughters since 2000 and, let's see, last time I saw Gabriella was 2007 or 2008, and last time I saw Brianna was in 2010 when I got arrested and went to jail. And that'll be a whole other video too, because that one I have to pull court papers for and documentation and that kind of stuff, as I've had people ask me to do videos on that as well. I went to jail protecting my youngest daughter, and I'm not a convicted felon. I was charged with multiple felonies. I was looking at 25 years in prison. And my ex-husband, who made all the false allegations, absconded from the area, and then thought it would be a real banging idea to file for divorce on my birthday. So on my 30th birthday, 30th? Yeah. No, my 31st birthday. He filed for divorce on my 31st birthday because I got arrested just after my 30th birthday. Because he thought it was like a super smart idea to do that, even though he had absconded from the area, had avoided police, had avoided law enforcement who were trying to track him down to get him to testify and to give a statement and all that kind of stuff, because he gave this like outrageous statement, made charges against me, gave over Westman officer, and I actually watched him do it, and then took off. And they couldn't find him until he filed for divorce, and that's how they got his address. And then when my attorney did go down there and interview him where he was living, which is about 6 hours south of where I live, he lied. And the guy who he claims was a witness backed me up in what I had said. And so they dropped all my charges for the except of one. And that was because I was honest and I told the truth about defacing a favorite shirt of his with a pair of kitchen scissors. I paid for the shirt, but because I had given it to him and it was his favorite shirt and he wasn't wearing it and I took a pair of scissors to it, I had defaced his personal property, which technically in the state of Florida is it is aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Is what that's called, because you are physically harming, which is battery. Assault is a verbal action. So because I took a physical item and did a physical action to it on his personal belonging, I was facing more charges for that, just because I was honest in court and told the judge, look, he did this, 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 and this, and I got angry and I did this, 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 and this, and that's what happened. And he said, so wait, you didn't do this, 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 and this? And I said, no, I didn't. I mean, how was I supposed to? I came to jail in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk in the fucking door. I'd had a stroke not even 2 years before, and I couldn't walk. So you're telling me that he's saying that I did this, 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 and this, and I literally, they had to hold me up for my picture in booking, and you're telling me that I did these violent acts of things against my 6'2", 200+ pound ex-husband. And I was, 105 pounds when they arrested me. Yeah. Not to mention they took photographs of what I looked like and they photographed what he looked like. And I was literally covered from head to toe in bruises. I had perfect hand grip marks on me, not to mention other marks, but yet I'm the violent one. Oh, trust me, I can be violent. I can be very violent. I can be very angry. But the thing is it made it worse because he absconded from the area and took off. So when they finally were trying, like I sat in jail for over a year and they just kept continuing my case because they couldn't find him. So I sat in jail for 15 months and 3 days because about 30 days before I was released from jail, they found him through court records. That's how they found him. And then, of course, my attorney drove down there and did a deposition with him, did a deposition with the other party that supposedly witnessed everything. And yeah, he lived in the house. He saw everything that happened. He saw everything my ex-husband did to me, and he told the truth. And so my ex-husband basically screwed himself on that. But I'll do an in-depth video on that. I'm still very angry about the situation. I was released from jail February 3rd of 2012. I was arrested 11/3/2010. No, I went to jail. Prison is completely different. Jail is a county facility where you await to go to court to be tried. So people that are convicted of crimes, if it's a year or less, they stay in county jail. If it's a year and a day and more, they go to prison. But usually anybody that is sentenced, they usually go off to prison. And so if you're waiting to be sentenced or you're still going through the court process, you literally sit in county jail unless you can afford your $12,000 bond, which is what I had, to get out. Yeah, it's different. Prison and jail are completely different beasts. And the facility that I was in, even though it was a county facility, it was privately owned. So we literally got food that smelled and tasted like Alpo dog food. And trust me, yes, I have eaten Alpo dog food. When you have dogs and you have no money and you all have to eat, trust me, when you are desperate enough, you will eat anything. And now, they make jokes about how older people can't afford to buy groceries. That's why they just buy cat food. And they eat cat food because, they have cats and they feed their animals, but yet they have to eat too. So they eat the animal food. I've worked in grocery stores, started working in them when I was 14 years old. And I have seen elderly people come in and buy wet food and dry food. And you think that they're just feeding their cats. They're not. They're feeding their cats and themselves. Because it's cheaper to buy canned cat food than it is to buy a can of tuna, which is sad. But yeah, a lot of people don't know that. And the thing is, I probably would have saved myself a lot of trouble. And I guess this goes back to what law enforcement training I do have. We were always trained not to open our mouths. Unless you have a lawyer present, do not open your mouth. Don't tell them your name. Don't give them any information. Don't tell them your age, where you live, your shoe size, nothing. You tell them nothing. Nothing. And they didn't get anything out of me. As we were driving from where I lived to the Walmart parking lot where my ex-husband was, which is where they took me to verify that, yes, I was the one that supposedly did all these heinous things. The cop was asking me questions and tried to read me my Miranda rights. Well, she screwed up the Miranda rights about 8 different times. And I said, do you even know where the Miranda rights come from? And she's like, no, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, Miranda v. Arizona. Why don't you try and look it up? It means basically you're not doing your job correctly. She's like, oh, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, let's see. It's you have the right to remain silent, blah, 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 blah. And I went on and I said, you said da-da-da-da-da. And she's like, no, I said it correctly. And she pulls out the little card thing that she's got, a little laminated card. And she's like, oh, you're right. I said, mm-hmm. And while we were going from where I lived to the Walmart parking lot, which is about a 15-minute drive through the woods, I got her name, her age, the age of her 2 children, what her husband does, what her father does, and why she became a cop. You know what she got out of me? Nothing. She didn't get my name. She didn't get my address. She didn't get my shoe size. She didn't get any answers, nothing. The only thing I did was interrogate her the entire time we were heading there. And if I was to show you the police report where it talks about and there's actually a transcript of the car ride from my house to the Walmart parking lot, and it actually says in the fucking transcript everything that I said to that sheriff's deputy, and everything she said back to me, and they had to like bleep out her kids' names and ages and shit like that because she gave me more information than she was supposed to, and she didn't even know she was doing it. And that's the sad part. And so when I got to the jail, and of course I called my dad, I called my mom, I called my cousins and that kind of stuff, trying to see if somebody could come bond me out. And because I was in there for domestic charges, they hold you for 72 hours anyways. So I had to wait for my arraignment the next day. They put me with a $1,200 or $12,000 bond, which means I needed $1,200 to get out. And the bondsman that called, like my dad and my mom, that kind of stuff, told them that they needed $12,000 in cash. $12,000 versus $1,200 is a big difference. I needed 10% of what my bond was. So I sat there, and I sat there until my charges were dropped. Oh, you asked? Sorry, I was in the zone, man. I didn't see that you asked why he didn't get charged for that shit. Because he was the victim. In Florida, whoever calls the cops first is automatically assumed to be the victim. So say I get into a verbal altercation with my dad, and I'm the one that started the fight, and say I've thrown a punch or two, and I'm the one that calls, my dad's the one that goes to jail. Doesn't matter that he didn't touch me. All he did was yell back, didn't threaten me at all. The fact that I was the one that hurt him, but I'm the one calling the cops, he goes to jail. That's how the law is here, and it's stupid. I think Dad just got home. But yeah, we've tried to get him arrested for filing false allegations against me. The roommate wrote a lengthy statement on my behalf and submitted it to the court. The charges are actually still on my record, even though 2 of the charges were dropped down to misdemeanors because I admitted in open court to defacing his favorite shirt. So there was like little things there. And again, I didn't talk to anybody about my case until I finally got in front of a judge and was able to say something to the judge. I mean, granted, I did talk to my lawyer, but other than that, I told everybody else to piss off. And I actually had cops come and interview me for other legal situations where I was a witness to other things. And I had to go and testify against other people while I sat in jail. And that didn't even help me in my case. Oh, there were days when, like, say the girls would like cut up during head check. They would take our phones away from us, our phone privileges. They would take our newspaper away from us. We had a newspaper and we had phone privileges. We were allowed to shower whenever. We got three squares a day. Now, granted, we had to do all the cleaning. They would come in every day and give us cleaning supplies first thing in the morning. And then, we would clean while people were getting up and whatnot. And then we would do head check at like 6 a.m. And then we would get chow, and then meds would come at like 9. Yep, that's home. And then of course we'd get lunch between 11:30 and 12, and then meds would come at 2, and then they would do head check and dinner again at about 6. And then people would get meds at like if you took meds at like 2:00 in the afternoon, you didn't have to take night meds, then you didn't get meds for the rest of the night. But there were times when they would like walk certain people down for medication. Like I had to go get meds at night because I take seizure meds. So they would have to take me and a bunch of other people down to the infirmary at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And then lights out was at 10. So during the rest of the day, it's basically, while I was in, I helped do like, because of many health problems and stuff. You figure when I got arrested, I had literally, I I had just had a stroke like a year and a half before. So I was on all kinds of meds. But, there's people that take like diabetes medications and a lot of psychotropic meds are passed out. Allergy meds, Tylenol, ibuprofen, that kind of stuff. But you know what that motherfucker's done now, Ada, is he has had mail sent here and then called the cops and said that he was living here and that I was breaking a restraining order trying to get me arrested. No, I can't. My mom wants nothing to do with me at all. And proof of that is the package that she sent recently. My mom, it hid your comment. I had to unhide it. Okay, so when my mom moved out of the state, she was constantly like giving us like packages of our things. Well, not too long ago, my mom sent this package. There's her address, the P.O. box that she uses, and our address on it. And I haven't even opened this. I've kind of been afraid to open it, but supposedly it's my dad's stuff and my stuff. And last time she sent a package, like I got my baby book back. I got back every picture that was ever in a photo album. Actually, I'll go get it. Hi, Daddy.
Hi.
Where's the dog barking at?
I don't know.
Oh.
Been home like 3 minutes.
I heard you come home and like the dog barking and.
So it may have been I opened the garage door, then I went and got the garbage can and a newspaper out of the front yard. Then I came in the house.
Oh, I was gonna get the garbage can earlier, but I decided I'd stream instead.
Oh.
And the newspaper wasn't out there last time I was out there, so.
Well, it must have come since.
Yep. Okay, I'm back. Set it down over there.
French fry.
Oh, okay. She just set it down over there. All morning until I brought and set this up out here. And that the leg of the thing spooked her and she went out. Oh, you don't even get me started. I didn't see anything else necklace wise on the floor, but I told you that if they got up and tried to get Fred that they'd knock a bunch of necklaces on the floor. This is the only one I don't think anybody's in the stream. Technically, no. She asked a question. I went to go get something and said I'd be right back. Came back, said that I had 2. And then she asked about Mom. I don't know how well you can see that. So that was one thing that I got back. And then color. So I got this back. Look like Grandma in that picture? That's kind of scary. I can't believe how much I look like Grandma there. They must have flibbed on my nose, man. It's kind of like cut off. Yeah, that's definitely not my nose.
More nose sense.
Woo. I used to have a cute nose. Mm-hmm. Used to being the operative word. Mm-hmm. Here's something else I got back. You know what's scary?
It's like Brianna.
Exactly like Brianna.
Yeah, you weren't too much trouble at that age.
I certainly was.
No, you weren't.
Yeah.
No, when you turned about 7 or 8, everything went to crap.
What am I, like 5 there? 4?
4.
Wait a minute. Don't you still have this dress?
I think so.
Ada, I got something for you. Take a look at this. I'll be right back. Let me go raid my dad's closet. This one just has polka dots.
Bib on the front.
Yeah. But Grandma embroidered this one.
Yeah. Somebody loved you.
But I was 12 and I wear it. Oh, he's telling my children. Now, I probably have a really damn good idea of what my mom has told my kids. Oh, she's a horrible mother. She doesn't say. I had big feet even then. But February, and the other one just turned 15. So they're already in this picture. That do some good, like, here. His truck was still parked here, but he would go visit my mom and my kids. So every time he would like come back for my mom, he would always bring. What was I sad baby? Never mind. Grab it quick. I was a year old. And this picture, this was kindergarten. It's graduation. Kindergarten.